Hello and welcome to the studio. Today is a very special episode. Today we're testing for the very first time the new MacBook Air with the M1 chip. We'll test it. How does it work? Is it fast? Are all of the plugins, the third-party plugins, actually working? And how does it compare to my current daily driver, the 16-inch MacBook Pro, fully spec'd? I'm expecting a lot by this. The benchmarks look very, very promising, but there are also some problems. So we got right here the fully spec'd MacBook Air, except for the hard drive, and here the fully spec'd MacBook 16-inch Pro. Using it already for over 24 hours, I've clean installed everything on here, all of the plugins. I've downloaded them fresh, the newest version, and I can already tell you none of the third-party plugins was actually made for the M1 yet. We're like 1 week in since it was announced. No one has made specific versions that are optimized for the M1. But I've just installed the normal versions, the one that are actually made for Intel processors, and 90% of them actually work. Yes, they have to be like transcoded through Rosetta. So when you open them, for example, right here, span, you see it like spins like just for like a second. I think that's the transcoding. On this machine, this doesn't happen. So opening plugins, at least when you open them the first time in a project, takes like a split second longer. But besides that, again, 90% actually works. So I can open up Diva, for example, it spins really fast, and there it is. It just works. Unfortunately, all of the native instrument stuff doesn't work. The installer itself doesn't work. There's like a pop-up. It says M1 not supported yet. They will probably implement it within the next 3 to 6 months. Then we got Serum. Serum works, no problem. The LFO tool by the same company crashes every single time Logic instantly. So it doesn't really matter which kind of company, it's a little random. Again, Diva, all of the UHE stuff works. Nectar doesn't work. Neutron doesn't work. At least it doesn't go through the validation process of Logic, but you can still like give it a little mark and force it to open, and it actually works. It doesn't crash, nothing happens, and all of the other isotope stuff works. So it's really hit or miss, but I'd say 90% works. But we'll still, of course, test those two. Let me set up like a song, like just make a little project on both with the same plugins, and probably just like an arpeggiator to have like a lot of notes playing at the same time. And let's see which one of the two gives up earlier. There's a little problem. I tried out testing both with Serum. It doesn't work. The MacBook Air, whenever I copy down Serum, it starts crashing. Because every single time I open up Serum, it has to like transfer it to the ARM new chip. And it just crashes, sometimes with a warning, sometimes without a warning. I can't get to more than 20. It's still not near its CPU max, but just due to all of the plugins, third-party plugins, not being optimized for it, it just crashes. So it's a little unfair, so I thought let's change the test and do actually just Logic plugins that are optimized. I will take Alchemy, which is like, I think the CPU heaviest you can get on Logic. And I will use the second preset, which is like a bass preset. Same chords playing an arpeggiator, same settings on both machines, and see which one can actually handle more. Okay. Both are giving up. MacBook 16-inch made 124 tracks, very impressive. Fans are up. It's really warm. The MacBook Air, silent, like nothing. It's not even hot. But it was only able to pull off 48 tracks, which is still very impressive for such a small device. And if you consider the price difference between the two, I think the MacBook Air is fully capable of producing any kind of music, except for maybe if you have like big film scores and need like 100+ tracks. But usually half of your tracks are audio, some MIDI. You should be able to make any kind of music with it. The big drawback is just that most of the third-party plugins are not really, I mean, they're working, but they make Logic crash a lot. Like, again, just today, at least like 20 crashes within like an hour. I don't know which plugin it's actually causing it. It's probably just one. I'll try to rescan the licenses and try to find it out. I just checked out Diva really quick. Diva is actually working and not making it crash. Serum does. I don't know why, but let's like, just to see how it handles third-party plugins, tested with Diva, initial settings, same art playing. Again, those two machines against each other. Okay, the difference here is so big, 140 versus 10. Because every single time I open up, you see it has to spin. It takes away a lot of what it's actually capable of. All in all, this is just like a first test. It's an unfair comparison. This one right here is like almost 3 times as expensive, but the M1 is holding up quite good. That's the first time in my life I could actually recommend a MacBook Air for people to use for music production. It can handle enough tracks to make a full song, but I can't recommend it as of right now. Unfortunately, due to all of the third-party plugins not being ready, not being optimized, it's not a viable option right now. Maybe except if you're a beginner and you're just starting out and you just want to install Logic and just use the internal plugins, then maybe yes. But if you're a professional and you want to switch, it's not the time right now. You will have to wait at least half a year, maybe even up to a year for all of the developers to catch up. Maybe we'll have then an M2 version, maybe with a better camera, less bezels. Hopefully the touch bar will go away, maybe Face ID. And then the second all of that happens, or at least the third-party plugins catch up, I'll switch immediately. Working with this is so much more fun. It doesn't heat up. It doesn't produce any kind of noise. And when it comes to using the OS or using Final Cut for video editing, it beats the 16-inch MacBook Pro without a question. It just beats it. Video editing, where I don't need any third-party plugins, it's so much smoother. It's so much better. This is definitely the future, and I can't wait. I can't wait for the third-party plugins to catch up. So really bright future ahead of us. I can't wait. I'll keep you updated. We'll see us again tomorrow. We'll further test them. If I find out anything new, I'll let you know. See you tomorrow again, back here in the studio.